On the morning of September 11, 2001, the world watched in horror as 4 commercial airliners were used to attack the United States. The first target hit was the North Tower of the World Trade Center in New York, then minutes later, the South Tower was struck. About 30 minutes after that, another plane plowed into the Pentagon like a missile. Thousands of civilians and hundreds of firefighters were killed. But the fourth plane, United Airlines Flight 93, never reached its target. It never reached its target because the passengers of Flight 93 knew something that the passengers on the other 3 planes didn't know. United Airlines Flight 93 took off from Newark International Airport at 8:42 a.m., bound for San Francisco. It was delayed by 42 minutes. Aboard were 40 passengers and crew, unaware that their lives were about to intersect on one of the darkest days in American history. Unbeknownst to them, forward terrorists from Al-Qaeda were seated in first class. Unbeknownst to the terrorists, this group of passengers was much stronger and more courageous than they had anticipated. Everything was proceeding normally, until about 46 minutes into the flight when one of the terrorists stabbed a passenger, and then they stormed the cockpit, attacking the pilots. Seated in the confined cockpit with their backs to the door, the pilots were in a very vulnerable position. The terrorists used the razor knives they had smuggled onto the plane to attack the pilots. The terrorists murdered the pilots and took control of the plane, turning it sharply back towards the east.
United 93, Cleveland. United 93, if you're here, Cleveland Center, ident, please. United 1523, did you hear your company, did you hear some interference on the frequency here a couple of minutes ago, screaming?
Yes, I did, 797, and we couldn't tell what it was either.
Okay. United 93, Cleveland, if you hear the center, ident.
An American 1060, a ditto on the other transmission.
The American 1060, you heard that also?
Yes, sir, twice.
Roger, we heard that also, thanks. I just wanted to confirm it wasn't some interference.
Is that 956?
Victor 956, go.
Oh, we were just answering your call. We did hear that yelling, too.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we're just trying to figure out what's going on.
The captain, please sit down. Keep remaining sitting. We have a ball aboard. So, stand.
Calling Cleveland Center, you're unreadable. Say again slowly.
Sir, did you hear the transmission where the airplane that said he had a bomb on board?
Say again. Was that United 93?
Yeah, that transmission he said was unreasonable. It sounded like someone said they have a bomb on board.
That's what we thought. We just we didn't get it clear. Is that United 93 calling? Executive 956, that aircraft we believe was transmitting is 12 o'clock, 5 miles, turn left heading 225. I'll get you away from him. Okay, he's climbing, so I want to keep everybody away from him.
Okay, I think we got him in sight.
So the 1989 traffic views at 11 o'clock and 15 miles southbound, 41 climbing. Looks like he's turning east while heading 360.
The terrorist thought he was pushing the button to speak to the passengers in the cabin, but he was actually keying the microphone for the radio with Cleveland Center Air Traffic Control.
Here's the captain. I would like to order to remain seated. have bomb aboard and we are going to back to the airport and we have our demand so please remain quiet.
Okay, it's United 93 calling. United 93, understand you have a bomb on board, go ahead. Executive 956, did you understand that transmission?
Affirmative, he said there was a bomb on board.
And that was all you got out of it also?
Affirmative.
93, go ahead.
That aircraft you can't get a hold of, is he turned to the east now?
He's just turned to the east also. United 93, you're here Cleveland Center. Okay, American 1060 and Executive 956, we just lost the target on that aircraft.
956, we had a visual on him, just stand by.
Do you have a visual on him now?
We did, but we lost him in the turn.
You can make a turn back to a 220 heading, let me know if you can see him.
He's still there, we got him for 956.
You still there? Northwest of you, about 25 miles?
Affirmative for 956.
Executive 956, fighting 180.
Hey, we're making a turn for 956, he appears to be heading right towards us.
American 1060, do you see anybody northwest of you? Can you see back that far there?
We're looking now, sir.
United 93, Cleveland, do you still hear the center? United 93, do you still hear Cleveland? United 93, United 903, do you hear Cleveland? United 93, United 93, Cleveland. United 93, United 93, do you hear Cleveland Center?
Meanwhile, the passengers were told to get to the back of the plane. Beyond the cover of the curtain separating the first-class section where a terrorist stood guard of the cockpit, the passengers used phones to call their loved ones. On the other planes hijacked that day, the terrorists went into action 30 minutes into the flight. The terrorists on Flight 93 waited 46 minutes. It was because of this, and the fact that the flight was delayed by 42 minutes, that news of the World Trade Center and Pentagon strikes had already gotten out. The terrorists had told the passengers that they had a bomb, and demands, and that they were going to land the plane. This was their tactic to try to make the passengers remain calm and not fight back. However, once the passengers were informed by their loved ones of the planes that had just been crashed into buildings, they realized that it was a coordinated event, and that the hijackers were planning a suicide mission. They all agreed that they would try to take back the plane. They would charge and attack the guard at the cockpit, and then break into the cockpit. They filled a kettle with scalding water to throw on the guard, and loaded a food cart with heavy items, to use as a battering ram to bust through the cockpit door. Passenger Todd Beamer was heard by the phone operator who he'd been talking to, saying, "Are you guys ready? Let's roll!" The terrorists began to turn the aircraft left and right to try to throw the attacking passengers off their balance. Apparently it didn't work because screaming, crashing, and what sounds like a struggle for the yoke can be heard on the cockpit voice recorder. Upon realizing the passengers were about to overpower them and take control of the plane, the terrorists were forced to abort their mission to crash into a building in Washington. They put the plane into an overspeed inverted dive that would have been very difficult for the passengers to recover from when they got their hands on the yoke. At 10:03 a.m., the plane crashed in a field near Shanksville, Pennsylvania. It hit the ground at 563 miles per hour at a 40-degree angle.
Do you see any activity on your right side, smoke or anything like that?
Negative, we're searching. Yeah, we do have a smoke puff now at about, probably 2 o'clock. It appears to be just a dark cloud like a puff of black smoke.
It left an impact crater about 10 feet deep and 50 feet wide. There was a huge explosion and most of the aircraft debris became embedded in the ground. The senseless attacks of 9/11 killed countless innocent people who were just trying to live their lives. the passengers and crew of Flight 93 realized the threat before them and went into action, not just as American citizens, but as human beings fighting for what is right. Their heroic actions saved the lives of all of those who were in the building that the plane was headed for. This video is meant to remember and honor all of the victims of 9/11 and to show respect for the extreme bravery of people like the passengers of Flight 93 and all of the firefighters and first responders who went into the towers in New York to try and save others, while knowing there was a chance they might not make it out alive. Their heroic actions are proof that good will always prevail over evil. Thanks for watching.